This is the kiss. Okay, and I did another building. That's the cover. Yay! Here is the proof copy with the new cover. Okay, I think it's time to work some more on this cover. So what I've been doing, but the iPad is actually working as a tripod right now. I need to figure out what is left to finish this cover. Again, this is the mock cover I did a while back and I'm just redoing this. So I'm kind of sticking with the same overall design concept, but I want to change the colors, the fonts, and all of these illustrations I am remaking, or not remaking, but making my own illustrations because these are not mine. And they're not like 100% fitting anyway. They're just some illustrations I found online and I used to make this mock cover, but I want to draw my own illustrations for the cover and also for the inside. There's a couple of things I need to draw for the inside as well. I'm just trying to figure out what I can do now because the color I like and I don't like at the same time. I think on camera it comes off brighter than in person. I like the way it looks on camera more, so I need to, I think, brighten up the color or change the color altogether, maybe a different shade. But I do like this contrast of kind of a darker-ish color with white text instead of black text, which I've also been playing with. Where are my mock designs? Are they not here? Where are they? Maybe they're there somewhere. Okay, so I think I decided on the final sort of color combination of the actual cover on the color on the cover and the color of the title text, but I'm not gonna tell you what that is just yet, just in case it changes. So now honestly the only thing I'm really missing is the new illustrations, because once I have those completed then I can actually move them, you know, put them on the actual cover and start moving them around and seeing what works best and how to color them. So I'm working on an iPad, I'm working in Procreate. I have some stuff here already. I mean, I can just show you, this was like a sketch of one of the illustrations just in sketch form, and then I did a little bit more here, but I'm still working on this one and I need a lot of them. And most of these will probably not actually make it on the actual front cover. Some of them might be on the back cover, some will be inside the actual book, and some I might just throw away. But for example, I made this very simple illustration of a magnifying glass, which I'm thinking of putting either on the front or maybe on the spine if there is space for it. But that one's actually finished because it's so simple. I don't need anything really except for coloring it, but that's pretty much done. So I'm going to work on a different illustration now. Okay, so I just finished a few more illustrations, but I will show you one of them. So I made this little sword in a tree that is very relevant to one of the clues in the book. And I'm quite happy with this. I had an earlier version of this which I didn't like, but this one I quite like. So I think I'm going to try a couple more that I know I want on the cover, on the actual front cover. Do like a rough illustration like this, because I'm sure I can still improve this. But just have it kind of done and then try to put it all in the front cover and play around with them that way. And then I can see what else I can improve on the individual illustrations. Okay, and I did another building. This is St. Stephen's Cathedral. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. So that's one more illustration that will definitely go on the front cover. I still need to clean it up, but in general, that's kind of how it is. Okay, and then the last illustration for the day, I think, because I already have a headache, is going to be this. This is The Kiss. So this is a famous painting that again is very relevant to the story. So I think that's gonna be it for today because I have a really bad headache now. Good morning. I wanted to give an update on the cover because I've been working on it on and off again for a few weeks, but I think I got it to a point where I'm happy with it, and I'm just tweaking very, very small things every time I work on it. And so I think I'm almost there. But I wanted to update you because I did change a few things. So initially I did more of the illustrations, some of which I have already shown you, but I can show you a couple more. For example, I made this book, this illustration. I'm not gonna say what it is because I want some of this to be a little bit of a surprise. I also did some buildings like this, just very, very simple illustrations. I like this kind of art style that is a little more playful, a little more, you know, it's very simple, but I just really like the feel of it. And I like the way it looks on book covers. And I also made another version of this candy, which I still haven't finished it, and I'm still not sure about, but. So I did a lot of these illustrations, and then initially I started playing around with them in the overall design of the cover. And I did them in a similar way that I did the mock cover, which is, you know, sort of placing them small around the title. But I'll be honest, I did not like that. It feels very busy, and also now looking at this cover, I feel the same way. It feels very busy. There's also, you know, this sort of trail thing going on around, and while it's nice, I just don't really like this design anymore because of that. It just feels way too busy. And so as I was playing around with the illustrations on the cover, like around the title and moving them around, I found, I don't know, a configuration that I thought, this can go somewhere. And then I tried again, just placing everything around. And so, long story short, the first iteration I had, you would have already seen this cover by the time this vlog comes out. Hopefully you should have seen the actual cover reveal, so I think I can show you it now, even though it's not, this isn't like the final, but you would have seen the actual cover by now, so hopefully this isn't much of a spoiler. But initially I did this. So I really liked the layout and the coloring of this, and so as you see, I have 4 of the illustrations kind of blown out, in the 4 corners. But I still wasn't like 100% happy with it, but I really liked this kind of, I don't know, design and layout of it. It just, every time I looked at it, it's like, yeah, that, I think that's good. Like I like that. But I wanted still more of the illustrations on the cover. And so the version that I have right now, that I'm still tweaking very small things on, but I think it's gotten to a point where I'm happy with it because I'm only tweaking very small things, which is why I want to show you the current version of the cover. Ta-da! Is this. So I put a couple more illustrations and I played around a bit more. I also tweaked the illustrations. And so right now what I'm really fiddling with is the tagline here and the series title, which you probably can't even see very well, that I put here, because it's kind of hard with this sort of layout to find nice places for text. It's much easier when you have something like this and when you can put, you know, a text right up here and the author name right down here, and it's all kind of symmetrical, and it's a low effort to do that. Whereas with something like this, it's a little more tricky to make it look nice. So I'm still playing around with the series sort of text and the tagline. And also I'm not sure about having, so I have this little bookmark thing coming out of the book that says a novel. I'm also not entirely sure about that. I don't think you need to specify on a book cover that a book is a novel, but you do still see a lot of that, and if it like makes sense for me to have that there, then I will, but I'm still not sure about that. So that's essentially the small things that I'm talking about, because otherwise every time I look at this cover I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's the cover. So I'm really happy with it, but I still need to do some sort of research and some feedback loops with it, because obviously I really like it, but I still want to figure out if it's the right type of cover, and I will do a couple of tests. I'll obviously show you once I do them, but it's like putting, you know, taking a screenshot of like an Amazon category page where my book would be, and, you know, inserting my small thumbnail of the cover, you know, in the like listing, and see how it sort of compares to other books in its category and things like that. Also, a good rule of thumb is thumbnail test. So for example, if I shrink it really small, you can't see it, but you can still, in real life at least, read the title of the book, even though you can't really see much else, but you can read the title, and that's important. So it's like stuff like this, but just trying it out in different sizes, different thumbnails, trying it out next to other books, next to similar books, and see how it compares. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. So, by the way, I made this in Photoshop. I just put it back into on the iPad just so I can more easily show you than on my laptop. But so all the illustrations are made in Procreate on the iPad, but then the actual sort of layout design I've done in Photoshop. Yes! Cover! I'm finally super happy with it. And even though I changed the sort of concept of it, this feels like the cover to me. Every time I look at this, because I've also taken like a few weeks break from working on this, especially because of that reason, because I kind of want to forget about it, and then once I see it again, I want to see how I feel about it. You know what I mean? After like a few weeks, every time I even glimpsed like the little thumbnail in my sort of laptop files, I was like, yeah, that's the cover. That's the cover. That's the cover. Yay. Okay, I'm just about to do some sort of thumbnail tests and like comparisons of my cover alongside other covers in my genre. So I just wanted to show you a quick look into how I do that. So let's move over to my computer so I can show you. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is I have this Pinterest board of like YA contemporary covers, some newer, some older, but just YA contemporary covers, or covers that kind of match the style that I'm going for. And as you can see, I added my cover, the latest kind of version of my cover, kind of in the middle. And so I just like to have a look, you know, and just see how it sort of compares to other covers, how it stands out, if it blends in, because there is a certain level, like you want it to blend in so that it looks like it's part of this genre. But of course, you also at the same time want it to stand out a little bit in comparison to the other book. So it's a weird, you know, it's a weird balance, but I think from just the ones that I have here, and of course I can always look for and add more, I like the way that looks. So, you know, that's just like a quick test to kind of see how it compares to other covers. But another thing we can do is just look into an actual Amazon listing page and add it there. So I'm gonna do that next. You know, you should go to sort of Amazon, and I think the most important thing here is like finding the category or one of the categories that your book best fits in. So for me, for sure, I want to be in teen and young adult coming of age fiction category. And so look at the sort of top 100 paid. You can also look at the free, but I think it's best to just look at the top 100 paid books and then pick the covers, because it's hard to do just, you know, because you can't see many, but you could just screenshot some of the covers, and then I will do it in Photoshop. So for example, in here, I feel like my book will look really good. So I can just, for example, take a screenshot of this. If I scroll down here as well, I can take a screenshot of this section. And these are all, you know, bestsellers in this category. And obviously, I would hope that you want your book to be here,
maybe at some point. So I think the 2 screenshots that I took are good enough. So now we need to get them into Photoshop. So now my computer has gone a bit crazy, but you see that I've imported the screenshot into Photoshop and I have my cover right here. So I can just go ahead and, for example, I could put it on top of this one. Just try to get it somewhat to size. And then that's kind of it. You know, you just kind of look at it in comparison to the other covers. And I think that looks good. I think that blends in, but at the same time stands out. I think, you know, some of the colors, I think this one also stands out because there's a lot of yellow. I think yellow is a really good color that kind of grabs your attention. But then I also really like this blue and gold on mine. And then I have another one, so I can do the same here. I can just actually copy this one into here and put this, let's put this on top of this one this time. And see, same thing. In my opinion, of course, this is all subjective, but I think that looks nice. Of course, there's a little more yellow here in this section than I think there is in this section. But actually, as you can see, they all kind of have a little bit of some kind of yellow, except for that one. But in terms of that, I think these look good. Yeah, and you can sort of zoom out as well to see. You can see it's still readable, as even if it's like really, really small. I think that's nice. And you can see, you know, something that it has in common with these is like bold white text that, again, you can still kind of read even when it's very small. So that's why I think this works, especially I think in this little section, because you can see that they all have big, bold, white, or just in this one's case, yellow text. And you can, actually, I just realized the same author. These 3 are the same author. This is a different one, but yeah. That is, you know, a simple test you can do to kind of see how your cover fits in. I printed out the cover just on my normal like home printer, just to see. I like doing that. I've done a few of these in the past. This version, and actually I think I have one here as well. Yeah, just to see. I mean, again, it's a home printer, so the quality of the ink is not very good, and the issue is the colors are not showing up as they do on the screen, even though in Photoshop I chose the CMYK color mode, which means that it's the colors that printers use when they print something physically instead of colors on the screen. There's differences like that, right? So I actually made 2 versions. So I changed the color mode in Photoshop. This one is CMYK, and I don't know if you can tell, but the blue is dark and the purple here is very kind of washed out. This isn't the same color that I chose in Photoshop on the screen. This is more blue, whereas the color that I have on the screen is still blue, but it's more sort of turquoise, I guess. And then I changed the color setting to RGB, and this is a little brighter then, but it's still not exactly the color that I chose in Photoshop. So I have to figure out why that is, and if it's just the fact that my home printer is shitty, or if that's actually how it will show up. And this is why you need to get proof copies from the publishers. So in my case, from Amazon or Ingram Spark, because this is the actual printed version, right, of the cover, and I need to see how it actually looks and how the colors look in person, and then I can tweak it. But yeah, it's just nice to sort of have it in person. to see like this, but again, I need to tweak it a little bit. And maybe I was thinking maybe shrinking the sort of text just a little bit. It feels a little big when you see it physically, but again, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and honestly order a proof copy, like make sure I have everything else that I want also for inside the book, and just order a proof copy, because I think that'll make it easier. Instead of fiddling around with my home printer, I should just order a proof print copy and go from there, because that'll give me a lot more information than any of this. I think I'm gonna look into doing that as the next step, but I still need to make sure the inside of the book is fine, just because then I can also do a proofreading for it on the proof copy. So I just want to make sure that then I have everything that I still need inside the book as well.
Okay, so it's quite some time later after I filmed that last clip, but the next step was to get a proof copy so I can test the cover and also so I can actually do a proofreading. But I did have some issues with KDP this time getting the proof copy. I had to, of course, update the cover on my listing and also update the document. And I also made some other changes to the actual listing of the book, and it just takes them really long apparently to actually process all of those changes. So whenever I tried to order a proof copy after I made the changes, even though it let me order a proof copy, when I tried to put it in my basket and tried to check out, it told me that it couldn't deliver to where I live, which is stupid because I've ordered proof copies in the past and I had no issue with it. So then first I didn't realize that was the issue, so I thought, oh, they changed their rules and they're not going to deliver to where I live anymore, and I went down a rabbit hole of that. But really all I had to do is just wait like a few days for the book to be processed properly, and after that I managed to get it shipped out and I received it. I already opened it because I couldn't wait to see it, and it's so beautiful, you guys. It is so beautiful. So I'm just gonna show it here real quick, but I'll probably talk about the proof copy more in my next video when I'm actually doing the proofreading, but just to show you how it turned out. And keep in mind, this has the lovely not for resale banner that KDP puts on their proof copies. But without further ado, here is the proof copy with the new cover. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Not the spine. I have to make some changes. Already I can see that there is some stuff that I want to change, but it's just so pretty. And the colors turned out so good, and it's so crisp because I figured out how to export it properly from Photoshop so that it's as crisp and as high resolution as possible. And also I changed the color settings so that it looks good in print, because the color settings on your screen are different than what you actually can print. So I did all that right this time and it turned out great. And I also went with a shiny finish this time around just because I just wanted to see how it was. I'm still undecided whether I want matte or shiny, but I just think this looks so good. So, and just a comparison with the first proof copy with an older edition of the book and like the first kind of mock cover that I made for it. That's what it looks like. It's also thicker, this one, but otherwise, I mean, it's pretty much the same, but it's so pretty. I am dropped the other one. It doesn't matter anymore. We don't care. This is so pretty. I just keep looking at it, and it also makes me super excited to actually start the proofreading process. So again, I'm going to talk about it more in the next vlog, which will be the proofreading, and that'll include sort of proofing everything, also the cover and little design changes, and of course the text and the inside and formatting and all of that. So that will be in the next video, because that's the next thing that I have to do now, is proofread the text, proofread the formatting, make sure everything is good to go. So yeah, that's super exciting, and it's so fun to actually hold the book in your hands And yeah, it just gives you that extra bit of, I don't know, motivation, I guess, and excitement to work on the things. So I think that'll be it for this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!